friends, welcome.
在美丽的天鹅河畔珀斯，能够与大家相聚。
I'm delighted to meet you in the city of Perth on the banks of the Swan River. This is my first visit to Australia as the State Council of Australia, but I'm no stranger to Perth. This city of sunshine, a city of frankness. I've worked for a long time in the Zhejiang province, and it's a sister province of Western Australia. I visited Perth for the first time 18 years ago when I was working in Zhejiang province. I've had many exchanges with the broader community, and this trip makes me feel very much at home. You are representatives of the 1.42 million Chinese living in Australia. You work, live and study in Australia. Contributing to your personal development and the bilateral friendship. Upholding the tradition of self-improvement and hard working. Component of the Chinese diaspora, playing a unique role in strengthening Australia-China economic and people-to-people exchanges. I also wish to express genuine gratitude towards the Australia Society who have been carrying forward and supporting the friendship between the two countries. I know you follow the China-Australia relations closely and have a keen interest in the Chinese economy. Let me take this opportunity to brief you on these two topics. Since 1972, the close established ties of the two countries. China has
一个建筑的共同利益，也符合地区和国家的共同利益。我这次访问澳大利亚，目的就是要增进理解、信任、挖掘合作潜力，厚植友好情谊，推动中澳关系在新的起点上。
To promote new development of partnership as a new starting point. Yesterday, the Prime Minister and I co-chaired the 9th China-Australia Leadership Summit and reached consensus on bilateral cooperation. On the past 3 days, I've also engaged with local governments, the business community, and the public, and Parliament, from which I gained more comprehensive understanding of the bilateral cooperation. This trip has not concluded, but I have already gained a lot. In particular, Prime Minister has accompanied me to visit and attend the events here with me. I am impressed by his sincerity and his true friendship. Thank you. So sorry.
Don't worry, sit down.
This visit can be summarized with three. The first consensus is that both countries stay committed to the continuation of the bilateral comprehensive strategic partnership and the sustained progress of this relationship, bearing in mind the interests of the two peoples, in readiness to tap into the potential of our partnership to better benefit the two people. China is ready to work with the Australians to build a comprehensive strategic partnership that is more mature, stable, and fruitful. In line with seeking common ground and independence of opinions. China-Australia cooperation has across the board been expanded and deepened, and the positive momentum of the complete turnaround of Chinese-Australia relationship has been consolidated. During the visit, the two sides have signed multiple cooperation documents such as economy and trade, science and technology, education, cultural and tourism. China has decided to continue its cooperation with Australia on panda conservation and will send the two giant pandas, who are both adorable but younger. The new pair of pandas, compared with Wang Wang and Fu Yi, the current pair in Australia, are a voice of the bilateral relationship. I believe you will both like it. You all like it. Yeah. The two sides have also agreed to provide multiple entry visas for reciprocal visits to promote tourism and family visits. And China will include Australia in its unilateral agreement, which will be good news for everyone here today.
Sorry, can you say that again?
And the exchanges will be more convenient. So there's a unilateral cooperation that will be welcomed by the attendees today. The Australian people from all sectors have a shared aspiration and sincere expectation for upholding and growing Australia relations. State-to-state relations have their roots in people-to-people ties. And state-to-state understanding lies in the friendship and connection to people. During the visit, all friends from the federal side or state and local level, whether it's opposition or government, entrepreneurs or general public, have all conveyed the same message. Efforts should be made to carry forward the China-Australia relationship from generation to generation. Next, I'd like to briefly talk about China's economy. In recent years, the world is faced with many challenges as economy becomes sluggish, uncertainty, unpredictable factors are also increasing. Against this backdrop, the Chinese economy has showed strong internal driving force and resilience for growth. Currently, China's development has sustained its sound momentum in the Chinese economy, has continued to rebound. In the first quarter this year, the Chinese economy has kicked off with its GDP increase by 5.3% year on year. The total GDP is 126 trillion renminbi. To grow 5.3 basis on this basis is not an easy task. Employment and prices are also generally stable in China. With same amount of income, people are living at compared with the past. And major economic indicators are back at the market expectation. More importantly, China's economic transformation and upgrading has maintained a good momentum. New economic drivers are growing at a faster pace. The added value of equipment manufacturing and high-tech manufacturing has registered rapid growth. The added value of equipment and manufacturing grew by over 9% in April, and high-tech grew by 11.3% in April. These two sectors have a large economic volume. So it's good news to register such high growth. New energy, AI, and biomanufacturing are booming in China. Of course, Chinese economy is not without its challenges. But these are through the course of arising technical development and will be resolved over time. We have full confidence in the capabilities of ensuring the sustained and sound development of the economy. Recently, I'm glad to see some international institutions have revised up their projections for China's growth. which speaks volume about the optimism the international community has on China's development. Looking forward, China's economy enjoys enormous potential and will maintain steady growth. China has established, after development, sound and solid fundamentals, and these will not change. Exemplified by China's institutional strength, there's a complete industrial system to ensure supply and a high caliber workforce, among others. The fundamentals of the Chinese economy shows strong resilience and huge potential, and that remains unchanged. We have full confidence in the Chinese economy. Next month, China will convene the third plenary session of CPC National Committee, which will focus on discussing how to further comprehensively deepen reform to advance to a more open China, which will ensure stronger impetus into the world economy and will surely bring opportunity for win-win cooperation between China and Australia. Overseas China and Australia are an important member of the Chinese family and an important force and a bridge in connecting our two countries. And I have some expectations of you. First, you should pay attention to the development of China. I hope that you can make full use of your familiarity of China and the world and come up with more good ideas and for the China's development. China will upgrade the business environment and make great efforts to address more convenience and support for investment in endeavor, study, and life back in China. My second expectation is to better integrate and give back to the local communities. I see that you are working hard to settle down and raising the next generation here. This is a vivid manifestation of the community for the future of mankind. I hope you will respect the local customs and proactively integrate and give back to the local communities to bring the hearts of the Chinese and Australian people closer, and at the same time that you strengthen solidarity in mutual assistance and boost the unity and influence in the Chinese community. I will work actively to promote exchanges between the two countries in many areas. Overseas Chinese in Australia have experienced the up and downs in the relationship, and we will fare better if the bilateral relationship is in good shape. I hope that you will always support and advance the friendship between Australia and China and actively facilitate exchanges in these areas and make contribution to the sound growth of bilateral relations. Finally, I wish to thank you again for coming to Perth from all across Australia. This visit allowed me to enjoy the view of both the sunrise in Canberra and the sunset in the ocean over Perth, in Perth. Sunrise and sunset are the beautiful views bestowed upon us by nature and the warm hospitality of Australians. Sectors have made me feel especially warm and welcome.
Thank you so much.
Well done. You have done an incredible job. You're a star.
Thank you.
I hope you got most of it. If I could get a copy, I'll send it across.
Thank you very much.
工作顺利，为中澳关系的发展和两国人民的友谊干杯！
感谢李强总理为澳洲华侨华人带来的亲切问候和嘱托。让我们再一次用热烈的掌声，向李强总理以及总理一行代表团成员表达澳大利亚华侨华人内心由衷的欢迎和感谢。接下来，有请澳大利亚总理安东尼·阿尔巴尼斯先生上台致辞。Now, please welcome Prime Minister of Australia, the Honourable Anthony Albanese, to the stage for a speech.
Well, thank you very much, and I begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we're meeting today and pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging. To my friend Premier Lee, you are so welcome here in Australia, and to your delegation. To Minister Farrell and Minister King and other members of the Federal Parliament, including, I think you'll excuse me for singling him out, my good friend Sam Lim, who is such a prominent member of the community here. To Premier Roger Cook and to your team, members who are here as well, on a personal note, our thoughts are with you today, my friend. I want to thank the Qiang Association and the organisers of this magnificent event here today as well. It is always such a pleasure to celebrate the great Chinese Australian community here in Western Australia and indeed throughout our entire country of Australia. I was here at Lunar New Year with the Premier and the Deputy Premier, Rita Saffioti, I see here as well, and so many of our friends. It was a dinner, Premier Lee, which was the largest Lunar New Year event I think probably ever held here in Australia, and it was absolutely magnificent. But to celebrate this community in the presence of you, Premier, is truly significant. This is, of course, the first visit to Australia by a Chinese Premier since 2017. And it follows my visit to China last year, the first visit by an Australian Prime Minister since 2016, but importantly, just as we commemorate 10 years of the comprehensive partnership between our nations with your visit here, my visit to Beijing and Shanghai commemorated 50 years of relations since the Whitlam Labor government had the foresight and the vision to recognise the People's Republic of China, and that was a very significant event indeed. Welcoming Premier Lee to our shores is a timely opportunity to showcase our national values, the qualities of our people and the strengths of our economy, not the least, of course, here in WA. But I also want to acknowledge, as the Premier did, the adorable pandas who are on their way to Adelaide. Indeed, my government is pro-panda, to be very clear, and we very much welcome. We welcome these beautiful ambassadors who will bring joy particularly to Australian children for many years to come, and hopefully will have a little one of their own, is the objective as well. We're also showcasing one of the great multicultural nation of Australia's success stories. It is a story the Chinese Australian community continues to write in our cities, in our suburbs and in our region. And I certainly agree with Premier Lee when he said that the foundation of state-to-state relations is people-to-people relations. And that is one great advantage that we have to build a foundation upon between China and Australia, is the diaspora, which is here as well. And I thank those members of the Chinese Australian community who've come from all over Australia to be with us here at this lunch. It is a story written in the ink of aspiration and ambition, of energy and hard work. And it is a story bound so powerfully in the strength of your community. The Chinese Australian community and the proud beating heart of your community culture that you carry within you are such an important part of our national story and our national identity as a modern nation. It's a story that has been written for 2 centuries now, generation by generation, ever since the 19th century, when the first Chinese people came south seeking opportunity in a land that was both new and ancient. Australia is now proudly home to some 1.4 million people of Chinese ancestry. The energy carried by all who come here with that greatest of aspirations to make a new life for themselves and their families is an energy that has ultimately made Australia a better nation for us all. Chinese Australians stand as an important link between the land that is your home and the land that is home to your beginnings. And just as you have kept the conversation going at a personal level, and I'm reminded that Mandarin is the second most spoken language in Australian homes, it is essential that the governments of Australia and China keep engaging with each other. My trip to China last year was indeed a very successful one, as has Premier Lee's been here to Australia. In the 50 years since our modern partnership and relationship began, we have seen China go through extraordinary change. The success of China in lifting more people out of poverty in recent decades than any nation in human history is worth celebration. It has brought prosperity not just to the people of China, but to our entire region, and Australia indeed has benefited substantially because of the complementarity of our economies. The sheer scale and speed of this achievement is quite extraordinary. Western Australia's role in that achievement is undisputable. Indeed, this great state's contribution is spelled out across the skylines of Beijing and Shanghai. 99% of Australian iron ore exports to China come from this great state of WA. And when we turn to the fuels of the future energy revolution, including lithium and other critical minerals and rare earths, WA is right there. That is the extraordinary power of this state, and why, as Australia's Prime Minister, I spend so much time here in this economic powerhouse. Like Premier Lee's presence here now, my visit to China last year was a step forward in stabilising the relationship between our two great nations. We cooperate where we can, we disagree where we must, but we always engage in our national interest. And every step of the way, I can tell you that the Australian government recognises this community as an intrinsic part of the nation that we have become. A nation in which every individual counts and is respected. A diverse and democratic nation enhanced by people of every faith, background and tradition. Just as the true magic of an orchestra is that it isn't just the same instrument over and over, our power as a nation is that we all play our different parts, yet come together in harmony and in unity. And the part that the Chinese Australian community plays in that is definitely worth celebrating, and I'm very honoured to be here with Premier Lee, celebrating and thanking the Chinese Australian community for the extraordinary contribution that you make to making our great country that much better because of your contribution. Have a wonderful afternoon. And I would like to give a toast to the friendship and support for the relationship between the people of Australia and the people of the People's Republic of China. 谢谢。